Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at another Devblog for the next major update, and this is the Pz.Kpfw.38 TNA. This is a vehicle I'm actually looking forward to quite a lot, because it's going to be a rank 2 light tank, which means that for newer players, it gives you an opportunity to get involved in the scouting mechanic, and also a mobile vehicle which wanders around the place. There's a few vehicles which are very similar to this as well in the Swedish tech tree, which I've had a lot of fun with. I don't think this one gets the APDS though, so maybe it won't be as powerful. After playing it a bit on the dev server, it was pretty nice to play, and as always, it's coming to Germany at rank 2, so you know a lot of people are going to be playing through it. Let's get into the history of this vehicle. The experimental light tank, the Pz.Kpfw.38 TNA, was developed in 1941 by the Czech company BMM to participate in the reconnaissance tank contest for the German army. The tank was built on the chassis of the light Czechoslovak tank, the LTVZ-38, and was distinguished by a more powerful gun, a new 8-cylinder engine, bigger wheels, and also wider tracks. Despite the best results in mobility trials, the tank was denied mass production due to the high fuel consumption, a cramped turret, and also a 37mm gun, which was considered excessive. Developments under the program, the Pz.Kpfw.38 TNA, were further developed into light tank destroyer Jagdpanzer-38T, also known as the Hetzer. So with this devblog coming in, what has been a surprise is the dev server is once again open. So I'll try and cover some of the stuff for you which is on it. Doesn't look like there's too many changes, but you know, we can always have a look. Focusing on the Panzerkampfwagen here, what is interesting about this vehicle is the speed of it. The vehicle itself, since it's built for acceleration and speed, is quite a lot faster than a lot of the other Panzer 38s that we have. It's able to go in most basic conditions 50 to 60 kilometers an hour, which is pretty cool, and the new engine and improved chassis allowed the tank to be able to get to 67 kilometers an hour overall. Now, the problem with this is if you actually have a look at all of the other factors of the vehicle, they're kind of weak. So this is definitely going to be a flank vehicle where you get a bunch of scouts off and then you can sit, wait for people to go past you and then kind of shoot them in the side. The armor profile is not very good. There's a lot of flat parts on it, meaning that there isn't a ton of armor in places. It's designed to be quite light and maneuverable, so if you get shot even by autocannons and stuff, you're going to get bonked. And since this thing is going to be between that like 2030 area, there's a lot of beasties that it can run into, which will just kind of annihilate it. And it doesn't really have the gun to deal with this. The 37mm KWK-38T gun has a very good reload, generally can output, you know, a decent amount of damage, but the thing it's going to struggle with is going to be its penetration. And this can be seen on a lot of vehicles in the game already with this 37mm or similar ones. I always talk about Sweden when looking at this kind of setup. And the reason for this is because Sweden has a lot of guns which are similar to this, where rank 1 and 2, until you unlock the APDS, these guns are really, really rough. They don't feel very good, they don't play very good, but once you get that APDS, they're pretty decent. With this machine at the BR that it's going to be at, the 37mm I doubt is going to get the APDS because of when it was built and when it was used, and therefore you'll just be stuck with standard AP or AP with HE filler. So we'll have to see how that goes for the vehicle, but if you do the whole mobile flank and spank thing, it shouldn't really be too bad. I'm hoping that its BR is okay as well, and what I mean by this is not that it fits in against enemies, it's more that it fits into lineups. This vehicle screams of one which would be really fun with a lineup if it's, you know, going into the game with one, but not a vehicle that's going to be a carry vehicle by itself. So it's going to need a bit of help, which cannot be found if they decide to put it at a bit of a janky BR. Kind of reminds me of like the T50 and the T126, the premium version, the thick boy. Basically, the 126 used to be really powerful since it was part of that like 2.7 BR. Then they changed it, and now it's part of a different lineup, which is nowhere near as powerful and also just doesn't feel as good. That could easily happen with this Pz.Kpfw as well, where as a highly mobile scout, it could be really powerful to get your team the initial advantage and to do well in, but because of the weakness of the gun and also the armor, you could get cast, or you could get, shot once and you would die. And then you need a vehicle to kind of support that with. So as long as this thing's BR is similar to some of the other Panzer IIIs or Panzer IVs, then it'll be alright. But if it's left alone on its island, which there are a few islands now in 2.0-3.0 from Germany, then it's going to be a tough time. It's a good place, I feel like, as well, to talk about the SD-KFC-2342. So they moved up the Puma a bunch of times, meaning that the first scout you kind of get access to in the German tree is now at, 3337? If you don't have, like, the other vehicles, like the Panzer IV F2 or the Panzer III, and you just go for the Puma, then you're not going to have, like, this full lineup. And also, if that's the first taste of, like, scouting that a German player is going to have, it's going to be a bit rough for the vehicle, for the people playing it, right? Because you're going to go up against better opposition with the Puma, whereas with this, it gives you more of a beginner style, which goes into, playing the vehicle and then also, having a bit of fun with it and learning the mechanic. I still don't really understand why rank 1 vehicles don't get scouting, especially some of them that could really do with it. Stuff like I believe it's called the AMC, for example, for the French. But since this is only a rank 2 and above mechanic, this vehicle will be a great start for people trying to learn it, which is important. I'll never ever be mad at additions like this in the tech tree. The last few updates, we've seen a bunch of them, which has been really nice, where we've seen like additions like the Churchill NA-75, for example, and also some of the donkey guns from Italy. These low-tier machines, for at least me, are pretty fun, because it means I can go back to play tiers, and tiers that I'm not, particularly used to all the time, which is quite enjoyable. There's a lot of vehicles that I haven't played in years because of the fact that I've spaded them and just kind of left there, and a lot of early Germany, especially ground and air, is very similar to that. So any opportunity to be able to go back and play those, even if it is only for 3 or 4 games, I'm always going to be happy with. And a light vehicle that's mobile as well, that sounds like a beautiful recipe, in my opinion. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Millie Draper, Juan the Panda, Nick R. Kupila, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie B. Young, Peter Grayling, Jerry Provolt, Bareen, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, Derek R., and Lafouche for supporting the channel.